All right, if y'all ready, we'll go ahead and get started. Council, you do our invocation.
Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for every day that we have, especially for a beautiful day you've created today. We enjoy our life here in this county and a place to live and to work and to raise our families, and we thank you for that. We praise you for that. We ask that as we discuss business for the citizens of our county, that you will guide us, you'll give us wisdom, and help us to provide the services that are needed and necessary, and that we use knowledge and the skills you've given us to benefit our citizens. In Jesus' name, amen. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any changes or additions to the agenda? If not, I'd make a motion that it be approved.
second.
All in favor? Aye. Being no unfinished business, that brings us to resolution authorizing the advertisement of the rollback road. Can you brief us on that?
Well, I gave each of you a hard copy. The rollback calculation, the rate is calculating for 19 based on the digest at 6.898. Currently, the 2018 rate was 6.983, so it's only about a 0.085 difference. By going with the rollback, it would, based on the, value changes in the digest, the 2019 digest, it would indicate a little more than $300,000.
Can I ask a separate question? And I should have done this, Charlie, when we did the agenda. Do we need to discuss the bond millage rate at this meeting as well?
I think we probably should, yeah.
They both get advertised, right?
Yeah.
So we do want to combine both. Okay, just want to make sure we're doing that. Go ahead, I'm sorry, Sam.
The difference based on the 2019 tax digest, the difference between the rollback rate and the current millage rate would only be about $120,000.
Well, with those numbers,
Pretty much it, summarized.
I mean, it looks to me like we might as well all stay to go with the rollback rate. It's not gonna hurt us real bad.
I will voice my differing opinion, Charlie, but that's just because
See, I always told my kids that just because was a legitimate reason.
For the last 5 years, in fact, I think for every year that I've been on this board, we've held that same millage rate constant, and I like that, and I believe that's some good history, because we have fought the battle through the Depression and the recession and things, and the years I've been a commissioner, the years you've been a commissioner, and now Carly, we have done what I consider the best job we knew how to do, managing what money we get from our citizens. This property tax comes straight from the citizens in this county. It doesn't come from anywhere else. And I don't want them to forget, or that we forget, that we have, I feel, did a good job of managing the finances of this county. We've saved money in bond refunding. We've been able to do things to improve and enhance what our services are. I just like what we're doing, and I really, I know of one reason to not keep the current rate and go with the rollback, and that is that we have to put a statement in the newspaper forced on us by the state of Georgia that says this is a tax increase. The truth is, if we use the rollback rate, our tax revenue increase will be 3.3%. So the citizens will be paying 3.3% more taxes if we use that rollback rate. Yes, they would pay slightly more if we don't roll back. But I do not want, and in fact, this page you just gave me, Sandy, I want to object because it shows a percentage tax increase on that piece of paper of 0%, and that's a lie.
I think that's
Let me
based
just
on
put it
the
there.
state's legal requirement.
It's a state legal requirement, but it is a lie, and I don't want anyone on this board or in the press or anywhere else to believe that because we do a rollback, that there is no tax increase. That is not something that is true. We cannot say that, and that's what this piece of paper says, and I think it's wrong. So I do have that problem as a not political, but as a factual statement that I'm sorry, the state is giving the wrong signals to us as a county, and I don't like that. My preference is obviously to keep the tax millage rate where it is. I do want to propose that we drop a little bit off of our bond millage rate because we are able, and have been for the last couple of years, to receive enough debt service money to cover that. And I'm not suggesting we take all of it off if we did, but some token amount would be nice. I'd rather put that tax cut, if you want to call it that, into the bond area millage rate than I would in the M&O. The problem is, if we lower the M&O ever, someday we'll probably have to raise it. So I don't like playing that game. And I don't want the assessors, and we have a representative here from the assessors board, I don't want them to think that this commission will react to how they evaluate the property and adjust the rate accordingly. That is not the way this system works. We set our rate to give us what we think is the right revenue to do our job and provide the services. I will not change the rate just because the tax assessors chose, and accurately maybe, to increase the tax digest and the evaluation of personal property and real property. I just won't react to that.
Well, let me say that I'm confident and I know, given the process, that when the assessors go out to assess the property, what we do or don't end up getting from it is the last thing on their mind. They're just interested in what their property's worth. Correct me if I'm wrong there, John.
That's a misunderstanding that just everybody has, is that we are the only group with Board of Assessors that are supervised by the state and held to
There's a problem with mine.
given parameters of evaluation, and that are proven by the sales of the property in the following year. The sales have to be within plus or minus 5% of what we put the assessment values on. So there's no games to be played there at all. We have no choice but to evaluate the property as what its real value is. So
I'm not suggesting you have a choice.
no, just so that's in public so people understand that, because a lot of people do not understand.
Don't.
And they think that because their assessment is going up, the taxes are going up. And that's not necessarily true either.
I agree, and I'm not arguing that. All I'm saying is that I do not choose to roll back the taxes, roll back the millage rate, let me correct my words, because when you do the rollback, the only reason to do that is it's an idea, which is incorrect, but it's the idea that we will get no more tax revenue this year than we got last year. That's what the rollback is supposed to do, to minimize the difference between last year's revenue and this year's revenue. That is not how we ought to set the revenue for this county by keeping it what it was last year. That is a bad logic. That's not common sense. If we have more people, we have more property, we have more value in the county, given that we have to live with property taxes, then we should be entitled to more revenue in that sense. But I don't want to play the millage rate game against the value of the property going up. If it goes up, then we got to lower our millage rate. That's an absolute false. But those two don't go together. And I'm saying you're independent and we're going to be independent. So just because your taxes went up doesn't mean I got to lower my millage rate. And that's what a rollback says. That's what the state says. And I disagree with the state.
Sandy, I see on here what the difference would be with the rollback rate. I'm not seeing what the difference would be to leave it where it is. Is that on there?
I didn't, but I can give you that number.
It was on the ones that you gave us earlier. I've got a copy, Charlie, but we would be, let me see if I can come up with a number. 431,000 as opposed to 311, 312.
The difference between the two,
Right.
you know, based on the 2019 digest numbers, the difference between leaving the millage rate at 6.983 and rolling back to 6.898 would be,
About
It was-
91,000, wouldn't it?
it was about, I think it's $119,582 between those two.
I'm not seeing that.
Well,
Is it-
it's not on there.
Are we
I've got
looking
it.
at 339.9 with the rollback?
339,904.
431 without it?
Well, 459, 486
Okay.
with the,
So 459.
339,904 if we go with 6.898.
Yeah.
And then 459, 486 if we leave it where it is at 6.983.
Okay. Dennis, I see what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying about being consistent. I do believe, though, that it's incumbent on us every year to look at the picture, the overall picture, and make a decision appropriate to those numbers.
Sure.
The fact is, this year, and this is unusual, this hasn't been the case in previous years. But this year, the difference between the rollback rate and the current rate is pretty minimal.
It's my, I agree.
In my mind, if I'm going to put an ad in the paper saying we're increasing your taxes, even though, and I've always been very vocal that I disagree with that, we just leave it where it is.
I know you have.
But if we're gonna put an ad in the paper saying we're increasing your taxes, I want it to be worth a whole lot more to us than sort of a token amount here. Difference between 6.898 and 6.983 is pretty minimal point, 0.085. That, with that minimal difference between the rollback, I just don't see putting ourselves and the citizens through the pain of going through the motions of a tax increase.
I understand what you're saying, Charlie,
But
I
having,
I will, the only comment I would make. The public, the citizens, if we do that, and we say, we roll back the rate so that your taxes don't go up, that is a false statement. We cannot say that.
and I'm not proposing we say that.
And I don't want people to perceive that that's what we said. And in fact, if they see this piece of paper that Sandy gave us, that's what this piece of paper says, that there was no tax increase. And
Actually,
That's-
that's how 3.85%
yes,
on here.
yes, exactly. So I'm just trying to avoid a misconception that the taxes if we say we didn't raise the millage rate and they say, oh, then how come my taxes went up 4% or 3%? Hello?
Call the assessor board.
Tell them.
But that's what's gonna happen. That's what's gonna happen. So if you're okay with that, then you're okay with that. I'm not okay with that, so I understand, Charlie, the dilemma, and
Let me
Of course,
address. I'm sorry.
we can't get rid of the wording that the state forces us if we don't, so I understand that logic too.
Let me address to the bond millage rate.
Yeah, let's talk
And
about it.
I do understand the desire to lower that a bit, but I would remind you that we're looking at $600,000 to $700,000 for a new transfer station out at solid waste, and new force mains out there. You know, we saw that in our, got that report in our last meeting.
Yes.
And we're gonna have to come up with that capital money. And the absolute only place we've got to come up with that is whatever's left over from this bond millage rate after we pay the debt.
Yes,
So
yes.
I just, with that facing us, I'm not sure this is the year we want to start lowering that.
And I'm open to that, Charlie. I'm just, I think, as the citizens see that our economy's growing and we do get more money for debt service, in fact, more than our current debt service requires. And as that gets bigger and bigger, then they begin to question, well, why do we pay taxes beyond what that is intended for? It was for bond service, to pay that bond off, or those bonds off. But I do agree that, and I was here when we raised that $500,000 because we needed to meet our obligations, and I'm not strongly opposed to keeping it. So
It's
I just
that
wanted to raise that question.
We know we don't have any choice in that,
Yeah.
in that transfer station, and
Well, we got places
we had
to use
allocated,
it. We got places to use it.
yeah, we had allocated $250,000 or $240,000 or something to move that and put a new one in place, but
It's not going to be.
we had not
that cheap.
anticipated all of the force main issues
Exactly.
and catastrophic failure that we had.
Can we vote on each of these separately, David?
Yes.
Okay, okay,
I would encourage you to do that.
Yes, I would.
That's what y'all have done in the past.
okay. That's fine. Yeah.
That's just my 2 cents.
And I'm with you on that, and it's a touchy situation right now because of those. We're not building a big bank account here by any means because we're tight.
Not with capital.
No, not at all, I agree. So that's all I'm gonna say. There is one other item on here that I need you to explain, Sandy, and that is about the state land assistance grant value going from 4 million something down to 0 on our evaluation.
There was apparently some local legislation that was passed that affected that.
Local?
Not local, state legislation,
Thank you.
sorry, yeah, my bad. There was some state legislation passed that affected that FLIPA, and we do not get that this year. I have requested information from Becky's contact at the Department of Revenue on that legislation, but I haven't heard back from him yet, so.
Do you know how much we received last year?
I think it was about 4 million, last year's FLIPA was
Well,
4 million and something.
Well, the value was 4 million something. We didn't get all that as a grant, did we?
Mm.
There was,
You adjust that number used to go in the rollback form. To
right,
adjust
it's
that.
not in this year's.
Right, they've taken it out of the rollback, they've taken it out of the 5-year history, everything. Do you know about the legislation that's
The
passed?
government did us a real fine favor, didn't it, the state?
So they're not what we were reimbursing or remitting
redone.
monies back to the county for the flipper program?
That's what this says, and I don't agree with that.
Are you aware of that?
Flip it because of that, the change.
I wasn't aware of that either.
This shows even.
All I know is that there were some changes made, they have taken that item, they have taken that line off of the rollback calculation form and off of the 5-year history. That's why I had to use the new 5-year history form that came off of the DOR website.
That, how many acres was that covered? Let me see if I can find that real quick. 'Cause we got a lot of state land, DNR land.
No, that's not in.
ECCG should be able to advise you on
Well,
This
we've
is
got
the
it.
first I've heard of that when I saw it here. The first I've ever heard of it this year.
I have contacted, like I said, I've contacted Becky's contact person at the Department of Revenue and requested asked him if there was anything he could send me regarding that legislation, and I figure he's probably busy checking people's digest submissions and stuff right now. I haven't heard anything back yet.
That was always one of the big attributes or selling features of the 10-year versus the 15-year covenant. Besides the fact that you could put a larger amount of capital and it was geared more towards corporate entities, is the fact that the county would receive some return of money off of it.
Right.
And now it sounds like that's been eliminated, which, I don't know.
That's gonna hurt.
That's $4 million in value that's taken away, and yet we still got, what? 6% increase in value year to year. Last year was a bigger increase, that was 9.8. And I would expect it would have been close to 10% this year increase in value if that hadn't been taken out. I may be wrong on the numbers, but it does impact the Starling.
It had grown every year, the flipper
Yeah,
had grown every year.
It was.
Last year, in 18, it was $4,039,084.
Yeah, and again, it was used as a promotion technique. I mean, if I had clients that
Exactly.
would fit either criteria, I was always steering them towards the flipper. It's a 15-year covenant, but it was the benefit to the county. That's really terribly disturbing, to be honest with you.
I have no information at all, and I didn't get a chance to talk. I didn't know if Becky had any.
Well, and I don't have any information either on
No.
that. I'm waiting for that, so that's why I'm cautious about saying anything about
Yeah.
how it's,
Yeah.
supposed to work or going to work, because I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on that information.
Do you think that came from the Department of Revenue themselves?
No, I don't know. The legislation,
Well,
I don't know.
who, I mean, they do this form, they do the rollback form, they took it
The
off of
Department of
there,
Revenue
so they base it on something.
could have, I don't know.
And if Becky were here, she would complain about the timber numbers going down. And I'm not gonna, I don't have any documentation to talk about that. but-
We did have heavy equipment this year, which we haven't had. About
Yes, we did.
483,000, we've not had that.
We did.
Since I've been doing it, we've not had that.
No, I've never seen that.
We did have that.
Is that considered personal property or just real property?
Maybe equipment would be
Personal
personal.
property, yeah.
But I don't know what law, I don't know, maybe it was previous year's laws that were set to implement this year or something?
Well, there was a House Bill 85 that was set, and there was also a referendum on the ballot that was, they're both set to be enforced on January 1, 2019, which is why that would be showing up. But I don't remember anything in that referendum that would suggest this language, so it may be buried here in this bill.
Yeah.
I just don't see it really.
Now, there may be some other way that they're gonna I don't know, they're raising so much rate, they're gonna partially compensate for that, but I don't know, that's why.
I don't see how we can set a military until we find out what's going on there.
Well, I mean, it's, you know, it's definitely not gonna be a consideration as far as the rollback rate and that kind of thing, it's, you know. So,
Well, if we had that, it would change, since it lowers the valuation, the digest,
then your millage rate has to compensate.
we don't have to, but
Well, I
if you
mean,
roll back it down.
yeah.
So I think if that's really out of there, that's part of why
That
this
explains.
rollback is less, maybe. I don't know how much that affects us.
It could be, this is the first year we've seen this sort of a,
It is a
Narrow gap.
It is a new world.
But when I get, Danny is good to, you know, respond to emails, so when I get that information from him, I'll pass it on to y'all.
I don't see it, but it's hard reading on
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Well, for the rollback, it's actually, I think, an advantage. It gives us less rollback. I'm assuming that's the scenario. So I don't mind going ahead and voting on it now. Probably if it ever got changed for some reason, that was wrong, we'd have to come back and, I don't know what we do. I'm not changing the rate after we set it.
I don't think there'll be any changes made, you know, because it was legislation. I don't think there'll be any changes made that will affect, you know, our 19.
what would be
Millage rate.
your assessment of the overall effect on our budget?
Yeah, that's the question now. And I'm assuming this is an ongoing thing too, so it affects us from now on.
Well,
It's not just 1 year.
I think that what we're, you know, that, like I said, in 18, it was $4 million. This year, it's nothing, and I think that is why we're seeing our millage or our rollback rate
I think so.
so close to what our actual, you know,
Well, I think
why we're
so.
seeing a smaller spread between that, on that rollback rate, why the rollback rate is higher. Because I think the rollback rate is compensating for us not
I think so too.
having that $4 million flip up, or, you know, whatever amount it would have been.
This would obviously be statewide. Surprised somebody else hasn't dealt with this.
I did not know that there were any changes where the flipper was concerned until a couple of weeks ago. I was talking to Teresa, she and I were looking at some numbers because we were looking at, you know, how the flipper changes were gonna affect some of the numbers.
No, I didn't know
Is there
that.
a,
I didn't know that till I saw it here on your,
is there a local assistance grant? Because you're using language in here,
land assistance grant.
a local assistance grant, any county shall be increased by an amount, and that they're doing it by staggered.
Yes, there was gonna be something like that, but I don't have any information on that either.
So you don't have any ideas to expect revenue off of that? See, that really puts y'all in predicaments.
It does,
Yeah, it's an unknown.
A big one.
Yeah, it's certainly not $4 million, but
No.
what was the annual amount that y'all would receive?
Becky did have to do flip a form. Now, what she needs to do with it,
That's not, I don't think, I don't know where she put that on her consolidation sheet.
well, she has to do a separate form. It's this form here that she has to do to submit with the digest.
Oh,
And the FLIPA amount on the form for 19 that she did was 1.4 million.
And that's monies
$1,443,000.
that we've received from the state.
063.
Whoa.
But then there's also a line here that says the FLIPA reimbursement value from item 11 does not carry forward to the 5-year history or form PT 32.1, rollback calculation form. And this is a state form as well, from the DOR. So that's why I feel like there may be
A million,
some way that they're going to
Sounds like
even
they'll
this out.
take it off
Mhm.
property taxes, and it'll just simply be a grant. that you all probably will have to account for in your budget itself, like you would your insurance monies.
Maybe like PILT, like payment in lieu of tax money, you know, the PILT money that we get or something. It may be that they're gonna be doing something along those lines to, so that, you know, the effect of that, not having that flip up on the rollback is not quite as painful.
And it may be a,
So do a calculation. Tell me, at our current millage rate, how much is that 4 million worth? In tax numbers,
At our current,
at 6.4, big three.
27,000, about 28,000. That's an even $4 million.
Well, that much could have been covered
Yeah.
in the lesser gap for the rollback.
That's why I think we're seeing a smaller gap in that rollback
I
rate.
think so too. Well, that's a dilemma. I don't know the answer, whether we want to worry about it or not.
Well, my big question would be what the bottom line is
Yeah,
for the income, and if it's 27,000,
that's not,
then I think we're covered on this,
yes.
you know, getting an extra 339 even with the
Yes.
rollback, so.
Yeah.
That being the case, I wouldn't worry too much about it, but.
Well, I could speed this up and make a motion, we keep the current millage rate and see if there's a second. Or somebody else can
So
vote.
is that in the form of a motion?
No, I'm not making that motion. No, I will, just for the record. I would make a motion, we keep the current millage rate of 983. Sure, I get my word, numbers right, yeah. And so I'm on record for that.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second? Okay, so the motion dies for lack of a second. How'd you feel about making a motion for the rollback?
I'm not making that motion, Charlie, I'll let one of you all do that, no problem.
Well, I will make a motion that we accept the rollback rate of 6.898.
And so it's not gonna affect this that we're finding out.
Well, there should be, the amount that comes in additional on, even with the rollback rate, should be sufficient to cover the amount that we're losing on the flip.
Okay. Then I'll second.
Any discussion?
Sort of seems to me that we go about this backwards about the rollback rate and all of this stuff, because that basically says that you're gonna use a rate that will get you the same amount of money this year as you did last year. But really, I think the focus should be on the budget. What's it gonna take the county to survive and to operate next year? You guys figure that out, okay? And if it takes more because of some of these things that are coming up, about the garbage places and all that, then you need to increase the budget and just tell the community that the rate is such and such because we had to increase the operation of the county. But, so to me, that's the focus, and not the rollback rate. The rollback rate, again, that just says you're gonna go where you were last year, but you guys are facing, I think, increases in your expenditures year to year that you need to tell the county, you know, tell the public about it, to keep going, this is what we need. And if it takes no more than, if it doesn't take a rollback rate, if it doesn't take a rate increase, so much the better, that'd be great. But meanwhile, it's the budget that they're focusing on. to me.
Well, I wish we had a budget so that we would know how much our revenue needs are. That doesn't happen in the right sequence, given.
We do have the cart before the horse.
Yeah,
here.
we understand. But also though, keep in mind, this rollback rate, assuming we vote to pass it, I think.
Oh, wait a minute.
You haven't voted.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but let me back up just for a second. The rate that we're adopting today is for the taxes due in 2019,
Right.
which will cover the 2019 budget that we just had. So we know what the 2019 budget is. So that's what we're covering here. This doesn't affect our upcoming budget that we will do. We'll make a new, decision on that in about this time next year. But, and I think of it that way, it's hard not to think of it that way, that, you know,
That's as good as.
we really don't have the cart before the
Right,
horse,
right.
because it's not the 2020 budget that we're working on revenue for here. It's revenue to cover the 2019 budget. So for that, we should be good.
And that's true, and the tax digest for 2020 will be used to cover the
To
2020.
cover it. And at that point, we'll have it, but we'll be in the 2020.
And in either case, we're gaining 3.3% year to year,
Yeah.
even with the rollback. So it's not like we're actually cutting taxes.
Does that make sense?
Even though we cut the millage rate, we're not cutting taxes as much.
So the better way, maybe explaining it is what do y'all have budgeted for your 2019 revenue on property taxes?
Do you have it? I don't have that number real handy, but
I don't know, it's.
it's about 44% of our budget.
Yeah.
That's the number.
Percentage amount.
That's the only number I know.
Because that dollar amount is, this is going to what you're going to collect on the 2019 revenue budget.
This shows we would collect 2,126,000.
That doesn't sound right for property taxes.
Hang on.
9,700,000.
I'm looking at the bond one. I'm
Oh, they
sorry, I'm at
probably
the wrong,
stand
I'm
alone,
looking at
too.
bond, Charlie, I was wrong. Yeah, it's 9.7, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, it'll be 9,700,000.
Now,
I don't know what
And what did y'all
our, I don't know
budget?
what our budget number is.
For 19,
if y'all wanna hold on.
about 8.5. Maybe not, but it was between 8.5 and 9. I can't
It was
remember.
less than 9, 7, 8.
So your expected revenue is going to be much greater than what you've actually budgeted.
It will be at least,
I wouldn't say much
Well,
you never say
Much
that,
better.
you never
Let's
say
not
that.
use
We never used to much.
No, we don't ever use
No, I wouldn't say
that.
that at all.
You said 9.7, or no, 9.7 was being collected, and I heard
I
8.
think it was 8.5.
You want me to?
That's 1.2 million, that's pretty significant.
Have you got that on your file, your
I
picture?
don't know if I can find it real quick or not.
I can find it pretty quick. Let me run you.
I'll try and find it, we'll have a raise.
Go. I'm in it.
Here's my,
What are, you have your budget? Well, I can probably find it real quick.
yeah, like
We'll just all go race.
You got it?
well.
Red light to that pole.
There was a minute ago, but I just.
You just took that last one.
Um,
What else? What is green? Is green weird?
Take whatever you want. And I feel bad taking the last road.
Look, I didn't know
I
that.
have mine before you got yours. What is this?
No, but thank you for your clarification. I thought this was 2020.
And
Yeah.
taxes are always collected in arrears.
In arrears, yeah, okay, so it is a tax.
It's a confusion.
But
8.8
it
million.
is a tax.
8.8.
8.8, so
There we
technically
go.
your revenue is going to be expected to increase by $900,000 that you all have not budgeted for.
What to do with it?
But that's a better way of looking at it.
Yeah.
But that 8.8 million may not be collected either, because you've got delinquencies and
Sure.
you've got other
But
extenuating
Becky's
circumstances.
running about 99.7%.
Yeah, she's, her percentage
She's
is in
nailing.
the high.
We've gotten really aggressive over there and throwing out liens. We're down to the Smiths now, we're getting ready to fill out some.
Down to the Smiths,
Yeah, Jim.
so the Williamsons, you're coming.
That's the way.
8.9, right?
Eight, what did I say?
don't know, 8.9 is what my book says.
8.8,
No, this says 8.9, 2019 amended.
okay, 8.9. Whatever you say.
This is June,
It-
this is your number, June 30th.
Yeah.
Just when Charlie comes back in here, just let him know that both of y'all are able to find his number.
Oh, yeah,
Quicker than him?
sorry, Charlie.
She's on your calendar.
And no,
Yeah.
and this number was
Casey's still looking.
9.4, basically. So it's $500,000 more.
9.7.
Technically,
Our
you could
tax
even- You could
levy-
even lower taxes.
Our projected tax
Lower the
levy,
millage rate.
our projected tax levy at 6.898 is 9.7. But, like Jim was saying, and I'm gonna agree with Jim for once. You know, you probably got a percent or two that won't get
About
collected.
1%
Yeah.
to be uncollected for a little while.
Mhm. Our collection, Jim.
But it's on 9.7, that's what, 97,000?
Mhm.
But you still got about $800,000 surplus there. That's almost a day. Well, if Brian, if Brian were here, I
I
can
know, I
imagine.
know,
what
I
he
know,
was
I
going
know,
on.
I know.
You missed some entertaining discussions, all.
Is that why my ears were burning?
Since we had a quorum, we went ahead and voted. No, go ahead. Let's see if we agree.
All right.
You got your numbers just like I
What
thought.
I've got is for 2019 property tax, 8,800,000.
I got 8,000,009.
Wait a minute.
You're wrong.
You may have just rounded up.
No,
We'll split the difference. No, we never split the difference.
okay.
I'm looking at June, end of June numbers. That's all I'm looking at.
I'm looking at 2019 budget, period,
Mine's a,
not necessarily,
mine was
And
a,
amended
I
and-
think it's a.
okay. So that probably wasn't what was budgeted, that was what was collected, and then we amended it to that amount. That sound
No,
right?
no.
No?
No, not for 19. We did that for 18, but I'm looking at 19.
Oh, we haven't collected 19.
Right, right.
Well, then I don't know why we differ.
No,
But
that's okay.
whether it's 8.8 or 8.9,
We're more
We're
than
good.
that. We're talking, yeah. Yeah, we're more than
okay.
that. Okay.
We do have, any other discussion on the motion? If not, to recap, the motion is to go with the rollback rate. All in favor?
No. I will make a motion that we keep the bond, GO bond millage rate at 1.5.
I will second that motion. So any discussion on that? If not, all in favor? Aye.
And while we're on this subject, just a calendar, a little bit of housekeeping here. The Board of Education will be, Trina said that they anticipate setting their millage, adopting their millage rate at their August 22nd meeting. Their meeting will start at 5:30. We have to do our official adoption after they, you know, like our meeting would start at 6 if you wanted to have the meeting on the same day, as long as it starts after theirs, correct? As long as our meeting starts after
You've
their
got to
meeting.
have
then-
their information, you've got to receive their information.
So I don't know if y'all would want
They're on the
to,
same day?
I don't know if y'all would want to do that the same day, or if you would want to wait and, you know, do ours on the next day, Friday, you know.
Is theirs on
What day
Thursday?
was that?
It's on Thursday. She said August the 22nd. At
22nd.
5:30.
Third is that?
Not 22nd.
7 o'clock in the morning.
That's when the Board of Education's meeting, yes,
And-
on August the 22nd, breakfast.
Oh.
What day of the week is that?
Okay.
Thursday.
We can't do early as the 23rd, we can do the afternoon.
That's fine, whatever, I'm here, so.
Mid-morning.
Well, I don't know how long this is gonna last. Doug Collins is speaking at 7.
Oh, actually, I'll try
It
to
said
until
he
9.
thought it would be
Is it
in
till
about
9? Well, then we
8:45
can
or
do
something.
mid-morning.
And usually that part takes 15
Yeah.
minutes, so, I mean, it's not, we just have to do ours after the Board of Education does theirs.
Well,
I just need to be able to advertise the date along with my, you know, millage rate advertisement and stuff.
Well,
I'm good with the 23rd.
23rd would work.
23rd at 10
10 is what I was thinking.
o'clock. That work for you?
Okay.
Is everybody
There
okay
may,
with that?
no, there just may be somebody else in my
We're not-
place that day.
Oh. Number 2.
No, position.
No. I thought I. Maybe he's going to look at roads.
I hate
He's
you.
going to look at roads.
Maybe giving Charlie secrets away.
All right, so 10 o'clock on the 23rd? Did you do the executive session? Just to let you know. I did executive session.
Okay.
So actually, what we voted on today was to go ahead and advertise.
Yes.
And since we're going with the rollback, we'll just have to have it on a public hearing and then the meeting do it all.
Okay, anything else on the millage rate before we go to the next topic? If not, then, discussion and possible action of hiring a railroad attorney for the pool project. I am hopeful that we can get some response, positive response this week on that. And if we do, then this is kind of a moot question.
I wondered that.
But if we don't, or if it's not something we feel like we can live with, I have spoken with an attorney who specializes in railroad law, who believes that he can help us. He's very quick to point out that there's no promises, no guarantees. But, he had some ideas that I thought were worth pursuing for these. He is also close friends with the president of the railroad, which he assured me would not get us anything other than that he would have access to it and try to make some points about civic service and good publicity and those kind of things. There is no retainer fee. It's a flat $300 an hour and bill monthly. What I would like would be to get an approval from the board to hire him to try to get an agreement for us if we are unable to get something in a reasonable time on our own. So, for instance, I'm not gonna call him and say, you're hired, and then come Friday, we may have a solution.
Right. I don't know.
So-
And I'd encourage it, this is a specialty.
It
And
is.
even if y'all are able to collect an agreement from the railroads, from Patriot's attorney at this point in time, it would hurt for him to look at it and review it to make certain that there doesn't need to be the inclusion of an additional provision there that would be helpful to y'all in the future. So I'd encourage it.
And it wouldn't be offensive to that other attorney.
Absolutely not.
Well, we
We
wouldn't
want to
even
make them mad that we're like, trying to.
No,
No,
just
that's
seek out-
normal.
It's
That's,
kind of a norm, I don't think.
as a client, we can seek out professional review as far as the agreement's concerned.
Did we ever get or see, or was there ever a actual agreement for that crossing with either the city or somebody else?
We received
Business.
someone else's, and we received someone else's.
No,
Oh.
currently, is the business or who has an agreement for that crossing?
There is none. He researched it, the attorney for Patriot, had researched it at Carling's request, and there is not an active agreement, active.
There never was. That's what
Not
you're
that he's
saying.
confined.
Okay, that's what I
But
thought
he
there
said-
was.
And then in the next sentence, he doesn't see a problem or issue with, and was gonna draft
Right.
it up, but
But I would agree with David that this is a specialized world, that it wouldn't hurt to have a specialist involved. Where's he located, Charlie?
He is very knowledgeable. he was giving me a list of things he would need, and, it was very
Good to
thorough.
have them anyway for future projects, so.
Well, with that in mind, then I would make a motion that the board approve
Okay,
me hiring this gentleman. With the stipulation that if this is worked out beforehand, the only thing we would use him for would be to review, if we can get an agreement beforehand. Otherwise, we'll ask him to pursue an agreement for us.
Does it, I'll second that, Charlie, with a comment, just a question to clarify. Do we not need something in our closing document taken care of when we acquire that property? If and when we acquire that property?
Well, I would hope that y'all wouldn't acquire the property until we can get an agreement worked out with the railroad at this point.
But does that have to be included somewhere in filing the deed or whatever?
It'll either need to be executed before or at simultaneously with
Okay,
closing.
so I think maybe that stipulation, he's aware of the timing that we need,
He is aware of that.
so we don't.
And I would even go as far, if we don't hear anything really back from this week, I mean, by this week, it's kind of,
Well, that's kind of what I had in mind.
went on vacation, I get it, but now we've been another weekend and still
Yeah.
kind of keep getting the same story, which I keep looking at, may pop up any second, but.
Well, I think he said he was going to review it tomorrow, didn't
Oh, that was just, I think he already had a draft, and he's just gonna clean it up
he?
and send it
It'll
over.
be
There's
interesting
all
to
those
see what
lawyer
it
words.
says.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's not a pretty standard thing, although I guess they don't do railroad crossings every day.
One of the things that this other gentleman had asked me to do was take some pictures for him.
Sure.
And when I was out there taking those pictures, it looked to me like a train could not come across those tracks right now until they come in and do some
Right, they would have
repair
to
work on it.
they would have to do hundreds of thousands of dollars of repair work to even have a train
Oh, I
Travel.
know, it's grown up.
railroad.
He said they take one of the passenger trains from Blue Ridge once a year down to be serviced. That's all, the only thing.
And I
that
think
comes
the only
across.
reason for that is so it's not deemed to be abandoned.
Correct.
When do they do that?
Only once a year.
When in the year?
Several months back, everybody was all the buzz like, a train just went through.
I can tell you,
saw it?
take a look at the condition of the track at White Path Road, the crossing there,
Yeah.
and then at Whitestone on the south end. I wouldn't ride the train.
It
I
might
think
be come
he
through
Do we
there,
have
but
an
it'd be
agreement to use
going
White
real
Path
slow.
as railroad crossing?
You got me.
I don't mean to bring up new business, but
False question.
We have a number of crossings,
I doubt it.
Dallas, that,
Pardon?
we have a number of crossings, county road crossings. White Path Road is one, we have another one down on Progress.
There are a good number of crossings that there are no agreements for.
Yeah.
There's a court case in Gwinnett County that is dealing with a private crossing, for which the county was party to the lawsuit for a little while, so that's all we need to talk about on that.
That is all we, so where are we at on this? Did you make a motion?
I
I did make a motion and you seconded it.
Okay.
So is there any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
I'll say by the end of the week.
Brings us to citizens wishing to speak. Remember we moved this up to the top on these special comments. Anybody that would like to comment on any topic?
I'm confused already. The bridge, Carnegie,
Yes, sir. That is,
been tabled or?
well, it's not that it's been tabled. It has been accepted by the Department of Transportation into their bridge replacement program. So that bridge is going to be replaced by the Department of Transportation rather than the county. Now, what they will do is, the only thing that they charge the county for that is 1/2 of the cost of any additional rights of way that they have to obtain. And they have estimated that at a little over $100,000, I think. And they've invoiced us for half of that, $50-some thousand, and we paid them. So at this point, it's in the Department of Transportation's court. I know that they are working on it because there were letters that were received by the property owners near the bridge telling them, this is about 3 weeks ago, I guess, telling them that DOT employees were going to be coming onto their property to take soil samples. So it is in the works. The schedule that they originally indicated to me has them actually coming out and doing the bridge replacement work in 2021. Now, I thought that was, a pretty long time away, but from what I gather after looking into it, if we were to decide to replace it ourselves, that probably would be the same schedule we'll be on, because it just takes that long to replace.
It's gonna be an expansion bridge or?
We don't know yet, it's up to the DOT, but very likely it's gonna be an expansion bridge, because we do have the gold line darter there.
Okay.
And that's another one of the benefits of having DOT do this.
Yeah.
If the county does it, we spend months and months and months and thousands of dollars trying to get permits from all the various agencies. DOT still has to have the permits, but they're plugged right into it where they can just, go say, I need this, you got it, and go work. So it's good for the county, it'll save us, anybody want to guess how much it's going to save us? $1.2 million.
That was an estimate 2 years ago.
Yeah, but it seems like every estimate I get is 1.2 million.
Yeah.
But it will save us over $1 million by having DOT do that. And they will be able to get it done pretty much just as quickly as we could. So it's kind of a win-win all the way around, I think, by being able to get it into that program.
Sounds good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, if not, we will do a quick executive session with no action anticipated. Okay, I would make a motion to that effect.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, folks, we appreciate it.